Hello students, very good morning. So students, in last class we were discussing our chapter semiconductor devices, and in that one some important questions we were discussing that is asked in your examination. So up to the topic of PN junction diode and two types of biasing, that is forward and reverse biasing, we have discussed. So today let's move for the next question, that is how can we draw characteristics for forward and reverse biasing. So again by the help of forward biasing here, like when P type of the P type of PN junction diode or P terminal of exactly PN junction diode is connected with the positive terminal of battery, and N type is connected with the negative terminal of the battery. We will move there. The first kind of biasing is, now we have this forward biasing. For the case of forward biasing, again first this is our PN junction diode, and in P type material as we have acceptor atoms, and in N type we have donor atom. So this is our donor atom where one of the electron is associated with this, and in the case of acceptor atom one of the hole is associated with this one. And when depletion region is formed here, then that time these electrons and holes, these are disappeared from here because electron is filling the vacancy of this one. So this is our whole of the construction up to the process where depletion region is formed and we are not applying any kind of battery or any kind of electrical energy to this whole of the diode. Then to reduce this whole of PN whole depletion layer here, to reduce this one we can apply battery, and if P terminal is applied to the positive terminal and N terminal is applied to the negative terminal, then this kind of biasing is known as biasing. So whenever we will connect this positive terminal of battery to P type, then that time this positive terminal will start to repel these holes. So these holes will start to move towards the junction, and also this negative terminal will start to repel these electrons. Then due to repulsion, these electrons will start to move towards the junction. It means that from both sides these charge carriers will start to move towards each other, and finally if they will start to move, it means electron is getting greater energy to move towards the junction and it can overcome this depletion region. And in the case of depletion region, as we can see here, two types of ions, positive and negative ions, they are separated at some distance. So it means they are making some potential barrier, or they are just forming some potential difference towards two sides of the junction. So we are calling this potential that is created by the depletion of these ions on two sides of this junction, that is known as barrier potential or junction potential. So if electron will get greater energy than the junction potential, then it can easily cross this junction. So continuously if we are increasing this battery voltage, then due to increasing voltage electron will get greater energy from here, as greater repulsion power it will achieve, and due to that one it will start to cross the junction, and when it will fill up this vacancy, then that time again conduction will start. So this is our process to overcome this potential barrier or overcome this depletion region, or to reduce the depletion region in the case of forward biasing. So we can see this battery is supporting to reduce this potential barrier easily from here. So this is our first method for the conduction in the forward biasing, that is I think now clear. And if we will start to make graph for this. So for making graph on this one, if forward potential that is taken in volt, and then on this axis if we are taking current that is obtained in the order of the order of milliampere, and when voltage will start to apply, then initially electrons are taking energy to overcome this barrier. Only some of the electrons can cross, even for some points we can also zero current, and again when they will get sufficient energy, means when we will increase this forward potential, and up to a forward potential, if electron will get sufficient energy to overcome this barrier, electronic emission we will start to see. It means that current starts to increase from here. So continuously current is increasing for increase in the potential for the forward biasing. So this is our forward characteristics that we are reading. Next one, after the forward characteristics, the second procedure that we will see, that is for the reverse biasing. So let's see what is now reverse biasing. So in the case of again reverse biasing, let's first draw PN junction diode here. So this is our depletion region. Both sides of depletion region here we have acceptor atom where hole is attached, and here donor atom where electron is attached. Now in this one, donor ion and acceptor ion. So in the case of reverse biasing, P type of here material or P side of the PN junction diode that is connected with negative terminal of the battery, where this N side of the PN junction diode is connected with the positive terminal of the battery. Only these two kinds of possibilities are here for the connection that we are seeing, and that is now known as by two types of biasing. So when we are connecting this negative terminal to P side, then that time this negative terminal will start to attract these holes towards its terminal, and similarly this positive terminal will start to attract these electrons towards its terminal. It means these charge carriers, they have to just match here, but they are going away from the junction. So depletion region width will start to increase. Exactly, depletion region width increment means the barrier potential that is also established here. So if we will see polarity for this barrier potential, as negative ions are depleted here, this side is negative, this side is positive. So we can see the battery that we have connected, this is supporting the barrier potential. It means it is increasing the power of this potential to repel electrons and holes, so that no of the electron and hole can recombine and we cannot get any current from this hole of the device. But certainly when will it start to increase this potential continuously. So we can see first it's a graph. Then for the graph, this is suppose current I here, and on this one reverse potential in volt we are taking. So this current, if you will see, this is obtained of the order of microampere. So in starting, only some of the current is obtained, that is due to minority charge carrier, because for minority charge carrier this terminal connection will behave just like the forward bias, but for majority charge carrier it will behave like the reverse bias. So only some of the current we are getting up to suppose this potential due to only minority charge carriers. When all the minority charge carriers are recombined and they have given this current, then due to continuous increase in potential here, barrier potential will start to increase. Now every barrier has its limiting potential. So whenever that limiting potential will exceed by applying continuously increasing this reverse potential, the barrier will start to break suddenly. So that sudden break in the barrier is known as now breakdown, and also we are calling it by the name avalanche breakdown. So avalanche breakdown condition is exactly what? When continuous increase in potential of the barrier here, as voltage is increased, then obviously inside, due to this voltage, electric field that is produced inside the junction, that will also increase, and due to greater electric field, greater electrical energy, these whole of the atoms, whole ions that are accumulated towards the junction, that is the donor acceptor ions and donor ions, and also in that acceptor and donor ions, as electrons that are already mined by the covalent bonds, they will start to break down. So it means at a sufficient voltage, if we can break the bonding between two electrons that is bonded covalently here, that is now known as breakdown condition. So breakdown is not anything big. Exactly here in breakdown condition, what is being here, that is inside the junction electric field is increasing, and due to increase in electric field, the bond between two electrons that and due to the breaking of the bond, that two electrons gets free, and due to freedom of that 2 electron, 2 vacancies created backside in the atom. So it means a whole electron pair will start to create here, and suddenly if all the bonds will break, then definitely inside the junction number of charge carriers will be produced. So this is the sudden production of the number of charge carrier, and due to that one, even we will apply here opposite terminal, that will not affect the production of electron and even hole here, and that electron will fill up this vacancy very easily. Even the whole vacancy will fill up by these electrons easily, and suddenly a large current will start to flow inside the junction. And this large current is here, if you can see now, this kind of graph we will obtain. So this condition at which we are getting the sudden change in current, this or the potential where we are getting the sudden change, that potential is known as now breakdown potential. It means the condition or the potential at which the bonds can be broken. So it means covalent bond we have to break inside the junction. This is also one of the method to overcome our depletion region. So means we can do two things. First thing we have done in forward biasing to reduce the junction, it means to oppose this barrier potential by applying the opposite types of or by connecting the battery in opposite way. That is, this is reducing the potentials of here, and whenever this will reduce whole of the potential of here, easily electrons can move from this side to this side. And the second method is that we can just break the covalent bonds on this from these ions that are accumulated inside the junction, and even they are producing this barrier potential. So these two methods that we can apply here. So for second method, that is for the reverse biasing, and first method that is for the forward biasing. And this voltage is known as avalanche breakdown voltage, or also we are calling it reverse breakdown potential here. So this kind of graph we can see for the reverse potential. And the first one we have seen, that is for the forward potential, and combinedly if you will put that graph, then that is known as the characteristics for PN junction diode. Now the next topic after this that is asked, that is question from the applications of PN junction diode. Now in the application of PN junction diode, the first application that is for Zener diode, the second one that for photodiode, third one we are using in LEDs, the fourth one in the case of solar cell. Even along with these one that you have to study here in your class 12, but we are using diodes in Hirschfeld. Also one more things you have to study, that is rectifiers. So in the case of rectifiers, half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier, two types of rectifiers we are using. So let's start to discuss now these applications. Also in our ICs we are using diodes, in transistors to construct them also, as well as transistors, pin diode. Lot of diodes we have made by using PN junction diodes, and in our all of the electronic circuitry we are using them. So up to now only 4 things and one rectifier circuit we have to study. So let's start our applications and their studies. So first application we will go for the rectifiers here. So rectifiers are what? Here by name rectifier is so obviously clear, and also we have studied rectifiers are those electronic circuit or devices that can rectify the signals. And rectify signal means as normal our all signals are two directional signals, that is AC signals. So if we have to convert our AC signal into one directional signals or unidirectional signal, that is in DC current, then how can we convert it? So by using rectifiers we can convert our two directional signals into one directional signal. So this is our use for the conversion of even and for better utilization of our energy, even without wasting one of the cycle, half of the cycle from one each cycle of the AC we can utilize it. So first rectifier we can use here diode to rectify the signal. Let's see how can we use this one, and for that one first let's see its circuit diagram. So in the case of circuit diagram, first here the signals that we have to rectify, we are applying this one. Now this the signals that is needed to rectify, that is applied to the transformer. So as if signal is very small, we can first increase the value of this signal, because AC signal, you know, that can be easily increased by using transformers. So we can use step up transformer, or if the signal is very large, so we can use step down transformer according to need here. So this is our second thing. Here suppose I have used step up transformer. So the second thing is transformer. First is our AC signal that is needed to be rectified here. And if you will see the shape of AC signal, then obviously you know in a complete cycle AC signal has one positive half cycle and one negative half cycle. Next one, after this, the signal that is converted into high or low signal. After this one of the diode we are using. So this is our diode, suppose D. This is P side and this is N side. This is symbolic diagram of the PN junction diode. And then one of the load we can use to take output from this. So this is the load through which we can take now the output of this whole of the experiment. So this is our simple circuitry for making the rectifiers. Now we can see which kind of output we will see, and according to the output the name to the rectifier will be given here. So first, as the positive cycle will be feeded here, then that time this is supposed two ends A and B of this transformer here. So first this, if the positive signal is feeded here, suppose this is the positive cycle that is feeded, and if this transformer has increased this value of this positive cycle, then this positive terminal will be applied at this point A. So it means this point A will behave just like the positive, and according to this one terminal we can see this terminal B is behaving like the negative terminal. So it means we can see the P side of the diode that is connected with positive side, N side of the diode is connected to the negative side. It means now the diode D is in forward bias condition for this half cycle that we have applied, that is the positive half cycle. So for this positive half cycle, as this diode will conduct, and due to the conduction of diode in the output, we will see some current I will flow through it, and if the load is R, some of the potential we can see according to here the positive half cycle. Now the next one more thing here, along with all things, as everything has its own property, like which kind of transformer we have to use according to the signal. Here the diode D that we have used, this is ideal type diode. So what is the meaning of ideal type diode here? The diode, this is in its best conducting state first, and the second one here its breakdown potential in reverse bias is in such a way where that is always greater than the potential that we have to apply here. This is our primary condition to use this diode in rectifier. Its breakdown potential must be greater than the signal potential that we are applying here to rectify. Otherwise this diode will also conduct in reverse bias, and it will conduct in forward bias, and that time there will not be any kind of rectified signal. All signal whatever we will apply here, that will be obtained here. Means if AC we are applying, we will also get AC in the output. Maybe that AC will not be the perfectly as we have applied here, but also both kind of signals we will get. So this is our primary condition here. The diode's breakdown potential must be always greater than the signal's voltage that we will have. It means that when the diode will be connected in forward bias, it will conduct, and if it will connected in reverse bias, it will not conduct. Only one thing, that is the now definition of our ideal diode here. Now it means here in the first case, when we have paid our positive half cycle, this diode is in conducting state, and due to conduction it is providing the signals output signal in the output. Now let's see the next second condition, when we are applying the half part of the cycle, that is negative negative half of the cycle. So for the negative half of the cycle, as this end A will become now negative. Now it will become negative, and corresponding to the A terminal, this B terminal will be now positive terminal. So it means now we can see this P terminal side of the diode that is connected with the negative, and N side of the diode is connected to the positive. Means now the diode is in reverse bias situation, and as the property of diode is that it can conduct only in forward bias. Means in this condition the diode is in non-conducting state. Non-conducting state means diode will provide zero value of current in the non-conducting state. So it means if zero current we will obtain for negative half cycle, this diode will not conduct it, it will not provide any kind of output here. Again when positive half cycle will applied here, diode will be in forward bias condition, again it will conduct, we will get here output for this. Again for the negative half cycle we will not get any output. So we can see the output signal shape that will of this kind of form, that has only one kind of the signals, that is positive half signal. It means our signal has become now unidirectional, it is not two directional signal. So this is our DC current that we have, or DC signals we have made by using one of the diodes. So as only half of the signals we are getting in the output for one complete signal, that is positive negative, both signals we have applied, but only in diode for positive half signals we are getting. So that's why it is known as half wave rectifier. Means only it is rectifying half of the wave of the applied input signal. So this is our whole of the construction and working output signal output diagram for the half wave rectifier. Now if we have to find out this negative half cycle also in our useful work, that we want to convert negative half cycle into positive half cycle so that whole of the signals can be rectified here. So we have just used another construction, that is in the place of only one diode we have used now two diodes. So if we are using suppose two diodes D1 and D2, then load is connected to this one, so we can connect now load to both of them and then we can take output from here. So in this case let's see if here again the diodes have same properties. Means these diodes will work when they will in forward bias condition, they will not conduct, they will provide zero current when they will be in reverse bias condition. So again for the first half cycle, if we will just fade this half cycle, then this terminal will be positive, this will be negative terminal. And for the case of positive, the diode D1 we can see its P terminal is connected with the positive, and its P terminal we can see that is now connected with the negative. It means diode D2 will be in reverse condition, but diode D1 will be in the forward condition. So if it is in forward condition, it will conduct, a current will flow through this load and output we will get due to diode D1. Again when negative half cycle will be connected, or this will fade to this one, then this terminal will become negative and corresponding this terminal will be positive for here, just like in half wave rectifier we have discussed. So here this P side is connected to negative, it means now this diode will be in reverse bias condition, and as this P side is connected to positive, so it is now converting into forward bias. So for the forward bias condition, this diode D2 will conduct but D1 will not conduct. So it means a current will start to flow from this D2 diode to this load, and again due to load we will get output current in the loop. So it means output signal we will get for both of the cycle, positive and negative, but that cycle will provide you the current in only one direction. So this is here the case for the rectifiers, that is we have rectified both of the signals, positive half and negative half, as a unidirectional signal. So this is now known as full wave rectifier. So simple, in half wave rectifier only one diode we are using, one diode is conducting only for the positive half, then that's why half wave we are getting in the output, while using two diodes in the output, both of the signals we can get here. Next one, after this in the rectifiers, one of the factor that is important here, that is efficiency of the rectifier. So if we will calculate efficiency, that is output power of the signal obtained to the input power. So it means how much percentage of the input we are getting in output. So for the first case, that is for half wave rectifier. So in half wave case, if we will see, the efficiency is obtained as only 40.6%. So it means only half cycle, even our rectifier is working for the half cycle, it means for 50% of the cycle. Even in that 50% of cycle, 9.4% is reduced here by overcoming this biasing of this PN junction diode. It means the depletion region, it has to overcome that also. So because every diode has some of the resistance, and ideal diode is not possible to make, so some of the signal is lost here. Only 40.6% signals we are getting in the case of half wave. Similarly, in the case of full wave rectifier, if we are calculating efficiency, so that efficiency is calculated at 86.4%. It means if signal has obviously 100% signals we are feeding here, then only 86.4% signal we can get in the output. So students, this is all about the rectifiers, two types of rectifiers, that is half wave and full wave rectifiers. So let's end our class here with these two topics, and in next class we will just discuss for first Zener diode, then we will move for the other diodes.